We're ready. Welcome to the September 12th, 2024 meeting of the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission. This time I'd like to call on opening announcements.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the Wichita-Sedgwick County Board of Zoning Appeals would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. For those in attendance, copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and planning department staff reports on all agenda items are available in the lobby. The Planning Commission's and the BZA's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning, subdivision, or variance application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the Commission and the Board will be retained by the Secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the Planning Department. The Planning Commission and the Board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on all the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct its own additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the district court.
Now could we have roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Duel.
Here.
Mater is absent. McKay.
Here.
Fry.
Present.
Bill Johnson.
Here.
Blick is absent. Nix is absent. Klontz.
Here.
Warren. Here. Joe Johnson is absent. Miles.
Present.
Zimbelman.
Here.
Aldridge.
Here.
Williams Bay. Sir, I show 10 members present and 4 absent.
Thank you. The next item is the election of a chair for the next 12 months. I'd like to say at this time that it has been my honor to serve the county and the city along with a great group of commissioners this past year, and special thanks to Scott and Philip and the rest of the staff for doing a great job. Appreciate it very much. At this time, I'd open the floor for nominations, and I would like to place the name of Brian Fry in nomination for chairman.
A second.
Are there any other nominations? Being no other nominations, we'll take a, I guess it'd be take a vote. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Excuse me, this opposed would be nay. The motion carries unanimously. With that, Mr. Fry, I'll let you take over.
Appreciate your service.
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the vote. And I would also like to take this time to congratulate and thank Mr. Dool for his service. I can't think of a better role model, mentor, and if I can be half the gentleman that he is, I will be successful in life. So thank you, Bob, for everything that you've done. Thank you. With that, we now need to have an election of a vice chair. And so I'll open the roll. Any nominations?
I'd like to make a nomination of vice chair for Bob Aldridge.
Second?
Second.
We have a second nomination by John McKay and a second by Tony Zimmelman. Any other nominations? Seeing none, call a vote. All in favor, as Bob Aldrich as vice chair, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion approves unanimously. So. So congratulations, Mr. Aldrich.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
All right. Next order of business is approval of the August 8th MAPC meeting minutes. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to review. Any comments or a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. McKay and a second by Mr. Williams-Bay. Any discussion? Seeing none, call a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same
I'll be
sign.
abstaining.
And we have one abstain. Thank you,
I'll be
Mr.
abstaining as well.
Mr. Johnson, Bill Johnson, Cindy Miles, and Bob Aldrich were absent. We can approve that with 7. So it's just a simple majority. Okay, motion all approved. We voted. We did, right? And so that motion approves 7-0. Okay. Next item is approval of the August 22nd MAP seating minutes, and I show absent from that was Mr. Bill Johnson, Mr. Josh Blick, and Mr. Tony Zimmelman.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Ms. Miles. A second by Mr. Warren. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. 8-0, right? 8-0. Because it's only Josh and Tony, or Tony and Bill couldn't vote. So, all right, next item would be, there is no BZA hearing today, so we'll move on to our next item, which is consideration of subdivision committee recommendations. First one is item 2.1, subdivision 2024-00040, final plat for TGC addition located at East Harry and approximately South 127th Street. Does any members of the commission want to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll ask if any members of the public want to hear this case. Seeing none, we'll take this on consent.
Mr. Chair, I do have a quick question
Yes, sir.
regarding one of the items, G, in planning. The subdivision board removed the item number 2 and item number 3 on that. I just want to make sure that that is still the case when we vote on that.
Mr. Zimmelman, or Mr. Zivverbergen.
You can call me Philip. That's a
the
lot
Z's
simpler,
mixed
less syllables. I think we could probably take a motion with an amended staff report with the understanding that Mr. Aldridge is correct. Those items were removed from the subdivision, part of the subdivision recommendation. And so I don't know if it would probably be best to take it as a separate item, but just to approve it with an amended staff report.
So should we go through all of these before we do that, or should we do that now? I'm looking to legal.
I think it'd be fine to do it now.
Okay. So is that, go ahead, Bob.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the subdivision 2024-00040 with amended staff report as discussed.
Okay. I hear a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Williams Bay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 10-0. Good catch, Bob. Thank you. So we will not need to take that one on consent going forward since we addressed that one. Okay. Item 2.2, subdivision 2024-00041, the Rennick 4th Edition at 53rd Street North and North Hoover Road. Any members of the commission want to hear this case? Seeing none, I'll ask if anyone from the public would like to hear this case. Seeing none, we'll take that item 2.2 on consent. Item 2.3, subdivision 2024-00044, one-step final plat, 151st Street and Kellogg. Does any members of the commission want to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take it out to the public. Does anyone present want to hear this case? We have one person. Okay. Is the agent for this case present? Great. Okay, we will hear this item. Item number 2.4, subdivision 2024-00045, one-step final plat, Sapphire Estates, 2nd edition, 143rd Street East and East 69th Street North. Any members of the commission want to hear this item? Seeing none, we'll take it out to the public. Anyone from the public want to hear this item? Seeing none, we'll take that on consent. Item 2.5, subdivision 2024-00046, one-step final, Castaways North Edition, 53rd Street North and North Hoover Road. Any members of the commission want to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take it out to the public. Anyone present like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take that on consent. Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Warren and a second from Mr. Dool to approve. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Public hearing on vacation items. Item 3.1, vacay 2024-00039, North Meridian and West 42nd Street North. Anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take it out to the public. Anyone present would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take it on consent. Item 3.2, vacation 2024-00040, roughly South Greenwich Road and East 47th Street South. Anyone on the commission would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take it out to the public. Anyone present would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take item 3.2 on consent.
Move to approve item 3.1 and 3.2.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Miles and a second from Mr. Zimmelman. Prepare vote. All in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. And now, public hearing.
Chair?
Yes.
Can we just make an announcement that Mr. Joe Johnson is now
Good
joined the
catch.
meeting at 1:42, and he's going to now participate hereafter?
Good catch. Thank you. All right, now we'll move to public hearings. CON, item 4.1, CON 2024-00035. This one is referred back from the Wichita City Council. Conditional use for East Douglas Avenue and North Oliver Avenue. Anyone on the commission like to hear this case?
I believe we have to hear that one.
Oh,
don't
yes,
we?
right, we do. Thank you. So we will definitely hear 4.1. Item 4.2, CON 2024-00125. This is conditional use request, multifamily, roughly North Clayton Avenue, North Custer Avenue, West Newell Street, and West St. Louis Avenue. Anyone on the commission like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take it out to the public. Anyone present like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take item 4.2 on consent. 4.3 was withdrawn. 4.4 is a zone change request for zone 2024-00039, West Kellogg Drive and South 151st Street West. Anyone on the commission like to hear this case? Seeing none, anyone present like to hear this case? We have one. Is the agent present for this case? Great, thank you. We will hear item 4.4. Item 4.5, ZON 2024-00040, zone change request SF5, West MacArthur and South Seneca. Anyone on the commission like to hear this case? Seeing none, take it out to the public. Anyone present like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take that item on consent. And our last one is 4.6, zone change 2024-00041, generally located at West Kellogg Drive and South 155th Street West. Anyone on the commission like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll take it out to the public. Anyone present like to hear this case? And same agent. See? Okay, great. So we will hear item 4.6.
I move for approval of 4.2 and 4.5.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Johnson and a second from Mr. Warren. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right, so now we will go back to item 2.3. That is correct.
Good afternoon, Greg Sharon, planning staff. I'm here to present subdivision 2024-44, 101st Street and Kellogg Storage Condos addition. Next screen, please. This is a one lot proposed commercial subdivision. A portion of the northern section of the plat is located within the city of Wichita, and the southern portion is located within the county. As the agent has stated in the subdivision committee that they will be annexing the entire property within the city of Wichita, and the plat won't be approved and signed until the subdivision has been annexed into the city of Wichita. This is in Rural Water District number 4, and if city utilities are needed and provided, then a right to serve from Rural Water District number 4 shall be needed. I won't go through all the staff comments. The main comments that need to be addressed are showing complete access controls per Kansas Department of Transportation maps. Next screen, please. And then the next screen. This is the plat in front of you. Like I said, it's a one-lot commercial plat. If there's any, I'll stand for questions.
Any questions from commission members? Okay, seeing none. Anyone present from the public that would like to speak on this? Oh, yes, I got out of order. Apologize. It's my first time. So we'll ask the agent to come forward. Oh.
Kirk Miller, KE Miller Engineering. I'm the agent. We're fine with staff comments. I think I'll just kind of wait and see what comments are from the public before I speak again.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone have questions for the agent before he gets too far away? None? Okay. Now, public. Any members from the public that would like to speak on this item, this is your opportunity. You'd go to the podium and state your name and address, and you'd have 3 minutes. Seeing none? I thought we had a request to hear this item.
I just wanted to hear more details.
Okay, are you satisfied?
Yes.
Okay. Then we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission.
Second.
We have a motion to approve per staff comments from Mr. Warren and a second by Mr. Johnson. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 10, okay. Mr. Aldrich was out during the presentation, though.
Abstain.
He will abstain. So we have 9 in favor and 1 abstain. We had 10 total, but we had, oh yeah, we have Joe now. Thank you. Math is hard. 10 approvals and 1 abstain. All right, next item is, where am I at? Yes, next page. 4.1.
Sir, if I could we call and see, make sure that the agent or applicant is here for this case?
I thought we asked. We asked. Oh, you're right, this is the one that was, right, this is the one from, do we know if they're going to make it?
I indicated that they should be here.
Sir, I will go, we could put this item out of order. We can move on to other items. I will reach out.
They are here?
No, you're fine.
Okay, they are present. We can proceed, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commission. Brad Etherly, Senior Planner for MAPD. We're here to rediscuss case con 2024-00035. I will not go into all of the detail that I have gone into previously. If anybody has any questions after my presentation, I'll be glad to answer any. But we do want to kind of go back to what has happened since, and essentially the city council did make a motion to return this case back to MAPC for further consideration. And once they did that, I spoke to the applicant, and they did indicate that they were fine to remove the conditional request for speakers and TVs on the patio, and that they just wanted to focus on increasing the size of the square footage for the conditional use. And so that is the request that is before us today. This, again, I'll go straight to the conformance to the plans. We do believe that this is in conformance with the community investments plan. If we can go to that map. Under the heading Development Pattern, Guideline 2A recommends to encourage infill development that maximizes investment in existing and planned infrastructure and services. Amending this conditional use will allow the restaurant to expand by using a vacant suite within the building. We also believe that it is in conformance with the Wichita Places for People plan. The plan recommends that with strategy 6 to encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring, and the East Douglas Avenue, Oliver Avenue intersection is primarily a commercial intersection. Increasing the restaurant square footage is an acceptable request given this location. And as far as nodal development is concerned, there are two overlapping nodes for this area. One is the Central and Oliver Neighborhood Hub, and the other is the Kellogg and Oliver Community Core. And I just dropped my pen. So for the development in the neighborhood hub, the plan states that these should be concentrated and intended to incorporate small-scale building types into their footprint. The low intensity of this type of commercial development allows these hubs to be well integrated into the existing neighborhoods. And we believe that an expansion of this existing restaurant will promote an active street presence, and that the subject site, as far as the Kellogg and Oliver Community Core goes, these centers emphasize greater access for those commuting by car, the neighborhood hubs, yet are also accessible by foot, bicycle, and transit. And again, this expanded restaurant will allow the surrounding residential community to walk or bike to the establishment while also attracting commuters from further away. So based off of staff analysis, staff does recommend approval of the conditional use subject to the modified conditions. And you will notice that condition number 5 takes out the idea of having outside speakers or television areas on the patio. So with that, we can go to pictures again, just to recap. So this is looking east into the ancillary parking lot that the conditional use was originally kind of set on. Next picture, please. This is looking east into a second ancillary park across from Glendale Avenue. Next picture. This is looking west to the patio area where the speakers and TVs were originally asked for. Next picture. This is looking west into the parking that is behind the bank and to the Hill Restaurant. Next picture. Well, that's it. I can stand for any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Etherly. Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, we'll ask for the agent or applicant to come forward. You will give us your name and address, and you will have up to 10 minutes, 10 minutes.
Brent Steven, address 4800 East Douglas, Wichita, Kansas 67208. I'm just the owner operator of the restaurant. Just here to answer any questions or what concerns anybody have about the space.
Any questions from the commission? Mr. Steven, you're comfortable with the staff report and find it all in agreement?
Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you. I don't see any questions from the commission.
Thank you.
Pardon? It's already in the staff report and it was addressed. Next, anyone present from the public want to speak? Yes. Come forward to give us your name and address and speak specifically to the staff report conditions. You'll have up to 3 minutes.
Arthur Allen, 120 North Oliver, 2 doors north is our office since 1988. I appreciate all that the Stevens have done since we originally dealt with this 9 years ago when they moved in and the density issues were questioned. I appreciate them pulling the televisions and the sound off. Not living there, I live at the Hillcrest at 115 South Rattan, so I don't hear all the noise and the fighting and all the things that happen in the parking lot and down Glendale, but I support our neighbors because I think we all should be neighborly. So I signed the initial petition, which was mentioned during the city council meeting, but it was referenced to be only like one business. That's not true. There were 5 of us that signed it. That's why you had to take it to a full vote by the city council and it couldn't just be rubber stamped. My issue is not necessarily now, obviously, with the noise, but it's the density issues. It's the parking everywhere when one tries to go through like we do to get to the bank and come in off of Oliver. There's usually people blocking the spaces that they've extended that parking spaces and parked way north. And so you have to go around, but there's people parked in the banking spots. So sometimes you can't get to the ATM because of the parking that's overflowed. Similarly, at night, we've had issues. I've now put cameras behind my building, but we've had broken glass, trash, etc. So my issue is about the density. We're adding 66 seats or something like that to a space that already had parking issues prior. So where are these people going to park? I understand the thought and the words about walking. I live across the street from Vora. I go to Vora all the time. I appreciate their establishments. I appreciate business. I'm in business. But I think we need to be a bit more cognizant of the density issues down Glendale where cars are broken in. There was a stabbing in the restaurant in July. One of the houses on Glendale was broken into by one of their employees. He was found in the house. So I don't doubt that it's a great opportunity for the brewery, et cetera, but I think there needs to be a bit more concern about taking this small space, which was already overpacked with cars, not just during March Madness, all the time. And then we add another 66 seats. Similarly, my concern is the talk of opening up to more seating, which the ideal thing, because the brewery is on the west, would be to open up the west side of the building onto Oliver, which would then eliminate 5 parallel parking places that are there now. So if you open that building for more outdoor seating right there where the brewery is, you're going to do away with 5 parking places and have more people circling and circling the neighborhood and parking places where they shouldn't, like in my back lot.
Thank you, Mr.
That's
Allen.
my concern.
Appreciate your comments and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Okay, seeing none, we'll invite the applicant back up for rebuttal to answer any concerns or questions presented by the speaker. You have up to 2 minutes.
Yeah, appreciate you bringing that up. Just wanted to clarify on the stabbing. I've never heard of that happening in my restaurant. That would be something that I would definitely hear about. I own a nightclub downtown I've had for 17 years and never had a stabbing in there either. So that's definitely never occurred. As far as what's happened on the streets and cars breaking into, that's definitely happened at all of my establishments. And, we always try to look into it when it happens. As far as the 66 seats go, we're not going to have that many seats in there, I don't think. Most of it is going to be brewery space, but we will use it for private dining, and that's going to be the major use of it. We just remodeled the wine dive, and we added private dining. That is what really does help restaurants become successful, because that extra space there's a need for it in the city, and we don't have that at the Hill. So we're not going to be really using it for daily use. It's mostly going to be for private dining. And the brewery is going to take up probably more like 60 to 70% of that space. So just, the workers in there is going to be a majority of that space. That's all I really got.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll bring it back to the commission for any further discussion. Seeing none, what is the will of the board?
Move to approve for staff comments with taking the TVs and out.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion to approve for staff recommendations with a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item is 4.4, zone change request 0039. Brad, I think you're back up.
Yes, once again, Brad Etherly, Senior Planner, MAPD. This case is ZON 2024-00040. In this case, the applicant is requesting a zone change from SF5 Single Family Residential to LC Limited Commercial District on a 0.70 acre property. The subject site is generally located.
I think you're on the wrong case.
Am I?
This is at 151st and Kellogg.
Yep, sorry.
That's okay.
Yes. Look what I started.
Sorry about that. Too many piles of paper. All right, starting over. This is zone 2024-00039. This applicant is requesting a zone change from SF20 to LI, Limited Industrial District, to allow for future industrial development on the properties and to match the zoning of associated property to the north. If the zone change is approved, several property development standards will change, and that table is shown in the staff report. Section 4B.2 of the Unified Zoning Code does require solid screening of commercial and industrial properties when abutting or across the street from an or alley from residential zoning districts. Because the property abuts residential zoning districts on the west and south sides, the applicant would be required to provide solid screening of at least a 6-foot fence around the west and south property lines. The property would also need to adhere to the rules and regulations of the Sedgwick County Sign Code. The UZC also requires compatibility height standards, that no structure shall exceed 35 feet in height when within 50 feet of the lot property line of property zone TF3, two-family residential or more restrictive. The proposed LI zone site does abut and is adjacent to SF20 zoning districts on the west and south sides. Any future buildings shall comply with that maximum height of 35 feet. The minimum building compatibility setback shall be 15 feet plus 1 foot for each 5 feet of lot width over 50 feet. Should the zone change be approved, the applicant shall be required to adhere to the parking standards set forth by the UZC, which would be determined based off of any combination of uses. Property to the north is zoned LI and is undeveloped. Property to the west is zoned SF20 and is undeveloped with is developed with a manufactured home park, farming/ranch land. The farming ranch land to the west has a land use application turned in requesting a zone change from SF20 to TF3 that is concurrent with this request to be held at this same meeting. Property to the south is zoned SF20 and is developed with a single family dwelling. And then properties to the east across South 151st Street West are zoned LI and are developed with warehouses and a manufacturing plant. The subject site is currently unplatted. Any commercial or industrial development on the properties would require platting. The site does have access to South 151st Street West, which is a paved 2-lane arterial street with no sidewalks on either side. Municipal services such as water and sanitary sewer are nearby with water in the adjacent right-of-way. If the properties are to utilize the sanitary sewer mains, it's possible that the mains would need to be extended to access the properties. The requested zone change is in conformance with the comprehensive plan. The community investments plan identifies the site as commercial and new employment on the future growth map. If we can go to that slide. Commercial is described as areas that reflect the full diversity of commercial development intensities and types typically found in a large urban municipality. New employment is described as areas that likely will be developed or redeveloped with uses that constitute centers or concentrations of employment, primarily in manufacturing, warehousing, distribution, construction, so on and so on. In certain areas, especially those in proximity to existing residential uses, higher density housing and convenience retail centers likely will be developed. in areas where the uses are already established pockets of industrial uses associated with extraction, processing, or refinement of natural resources, or recycling of waste materials likely will be developed. Staff believes that establishing LI zoning on these parcels is appropriate considering the proximity to other LI zone properties. However, with the property to the west requesting to be rezoned to TF3 at the same time, increasing the amount of LI zone properties next to a potential large residential development would need to be considered. However, the screening and compatibility requirements of the UZC are designed to promote compatibility between those uses. As far as locational guidelines go, under the heading development pattern, guideline 1E recommends that higher density residential uses and neighborhoods serving retail and office uses should buffer lower density residential uses from major commercial and employment centers and industrial uses. And although a manufactured home park is west of the subject site, a concurrent request to rezone other abutting land to the west from SF20 to TF3 would potentially place large residential development directly to the west of the subject sites. Additionally, an SF20 zone parcel is directly south of the subject area. And then under the heading development pattern, guideline 3D recommends that low density residential uses should be buffered from commercial and industrial areas by open space, water bodies, changes in topography, or major barriers. If this request is approved along with a concurrent zone change to the west, the residential uses would more than likely not be buffered in accordance with the locational guideline. But then lastly, under the heading Land Use Compatibility Guideline 3A recommends that except in mixed use developments, residential and non-residential development areas generally should be separate and distinct with appropriate screening and buffering to ensure compatibility among the land uses while maintaining connectivity among uses. So any commercial or industrial uses developed on the subject sites would need to be screened and buffered where abutting residential properties. If we can go to the site pics. This is looking west onto the property from South 151st. Next picture. This is looking north away from the property. Next picture. This is looking east across 151st Street. Next picture. And then this is looking south away from the property. Based on the information available, staff does recommend approval of the request, and I can stand for any questions.
Thank you, Brad. Does anyone on the commission have questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, we'd like to invite the agent or applicant up. Please give us your name and address, and you have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kim Edgington, PSC Consulting, 2532 North Cardinal Drive, Wichita, Kansas. Thank you for the opportunity to address you regarding this request. We are in agreement with all of staff's comments. This project is associated with the plat you previously heard in this meeting at 151st and Kellogg that you did approve. The request is essentially made to ensure that this entire property is under a single zoning category. I don't know if we can show the zoning map. You'll see that a portion of the property is already zoned limited industrial that is under our ownership. That portion of the property is in the city of Wichita. This portion of the property is in the county. We have submitted a request to the city of Wichita for annexation and also to provide water and sewer to this property. So moving forward, the entire property will be within the city limits of the city of Wichita. We recognize that there will be screening required, observation of compatibility setbacks to ensure that this development is as inobtrusive as possible. The type of use that will be here are for storage unit condominiums, so individually owned. A very low traffic generating use should not really affect the traffic on 151st Street as would a more intensive commercial type use. So again, we are in agreement with all of staff comments, and I would be happy to stand for any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Does anyone on the commission have questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Then now we'll take it out to the public. Anyone present from the public wish to speak on this item? Yes, sir. You please come to the podium, state your name and address. You will have 3 minutes.
My name is Michael Ball. I am at 218 North Rainbow Lake Road in Wichita. First of all, I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't notified of this public hearing because I came here originally for the 0041, which is an adjacent piece of property. And so I wasn't notified of these other two public hearings. But the comments that I would like to make on the 41 would be the same as that I would make right now. Would you prefer me to make those now or wait till the next?
I think we need to stay on this particular, item.
Okay.
As it relates to any questions or comments.
Well, let me take my written statement and then we can go from there. I'm contacting you because the LLC that I'm a presiding member of, B&B Homes LLC, we have an ownership interest in a residence at 15341 West Esner, and we have a financial interest in a residence at 15315 West Esner.
Can you show us where that is with the mouse?
Using the mouse at your podium there, can you show us the homes that you're talking about on the map? Where those addresses are?
This is West Esner.
Okay, you should be able to
The two residents are here and here.
Yeah, can you use the mouse to?
Oh.
There we go.
I'm a high-tech kind of guy.
That's all right. We're recording this and that's why they need to be able to see it.
So this is the residence that we have a financial interest in.
Okay.
This is the residence that we own.
Okay. About how far are those from the subject property line?
I'd say 500 feet.
Okay. All right. Continue, please.
Generally, we have no problems with the reference zoning. And again, this is 41 as addition to 39, given the amount of undeveloped and underdeveloped property in the vicinity. However, I have a serious concern about the side effects of the proposed development on the stormwater runoff moving past our two residences listed above. Presently, the runoff moves south from the subject land into a creek bed and under Esner Street. Esner Street is right here. And you can see the small creek that goes under Esner Street into a creek bed and under Esner Street via two 24-inch culverts. It flows in the creek bed between our two properties to the abandoned rail right-of-way now being used as a walking trail through a 48-inch culvert into the next property. So under the abandoned railway, there is a 48-inch culvert. We are having problems with storm runoff now. If the requested development goes forward, adding streets, driveways, and homes, the runoff will probably get worse and amplified because the water will be moving more quickly. At least twice in the last couple of years, the runoff has overflowed Esner Street, making it impassable. They're right here.
Okay, Mr. Ball, your time is up, so I'm going to let you finish your statement.
Making it impassable for several hours. We are requesting at this hearing, any subsequent meeting, that this stormwater runoff problem be a part of the planning, budgeting, and actions to mitigate future problems.
All right,
Thank you.
sir. Understand that this is a zoning change request, and that will be dealt with at a later time. So as far as notification area, Mr. Waddle, would he have received information?
So we're in the process of looking into that right now. We know that the notification area for this case would be 1,000 feet because it's in the unincorporated county. What we're doing right now is we're looking at the application that was submitted. That includes information from a title company with a list of ownership of all the property owners in that area. So we're looking to that, as well as we're looking in GIS to see the distance between the two properties that were mentioned and the application area.
Mr. Ball, were both of those properties under the same LLC?
Sir, you'll have to go back to the mic, please.
Sorry. I should have told you that first. We need to have you at the microphone.
We have ownership interest in the westerly property.
What is that LLC?
And that's owned by the B&B Homes LLC.
Okay.
My daughter owns the house adjacent, of which we're holding a mortgage on that property. We have a financial interest.
And that ownership name?
Is Jeannie Beatty, Beatty.
Okay. Thank you. I just
She
wanted to make
did
sure.
get notified of.
She did?
Of number 41, but not the other two.
Okay. Mr. Waddle.
Yeah, it appears that in the ownership list that was provided to us by the title company, we see Janine Beatty with the proper address listed. We do not find that B&B Homes was listed as a property owner in the area, which does not match up with the information from GIS showing property ownership that B&B Homes does own the property immediately to the west. So it appears, oh, Philip, do you want to go? It appears that perhaps just the title work just didn't have one included. It's happened before in the past typically, and I'll let Sam weigh on this, but typically there just would have to be a motion required to say that substantial notification was met or not.
Okay. Sam?
Yeah, whenever there's a question raised at the hearing regarding the adequacy of notice, the board should hear the matter and make a formal finding as to whether there was substantial compliance with the notice requirement. In terms of, since he is present here, it seems that there wouldn't be any detriment, so to speak, and he's present and has been able to talk on this. So, but I would ask that someone make a motion to make the findings that are required.
Okay. We have a question for Mr. Aldrich.
Yeah, I actually still have a question for legal. It's, how are we assured that proper notification has been issued? And that answer, I guess, is based on security title information that's available at the time. Is that correct?
I'm going to defer that to Scott, since he's in control of providing the notice.
Thank you. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling up the PDF again, which included the original application and the information provided by the title company. We're happy to print that out for you if you'd like to see that. It would take a few minutes to print that out. But in the meantime, what I'm trying to do is give you a list of or a number of the addresses that are represented on that so that you can have a sense of how many people did receive mail out notices. It'll take just a moment for me to pull that up.
And just as a reminder to the board, the substantial compliance is what we're looking at. The law does not require that we give every single person notice, but as long as we substantially complied with the notice requirement, that's what the findings need to be.
Understood. Thank you.
So I've been able to count it. It appears that there's approximately 15 properties that were identified as part of the title work that was done for the ownership list. So 15 property owners would have received notification of this. Now, for some properties, there could be multiple properties that are owned by the same company or individual. So, but 15 properties.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we find that there has been substantial notification,
Compliance.
compliance on the notification.
Okay. I will second that. Any discussion or other comments? Seeing none on the motion of finding substantial compliance, please cast your vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. So now back to the case itself. Any other members of the public wish to address the commission? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the applicant agent for rebuttal. You have 2 minutes or less.
Kim Edgington for the record. I just want to mention that this applicant is not associated with the property that you will hear later on, and I do not represent that applicant for the property to the west. So the drainage issues that you have already approved as part of the approved drainage plan for the plat, we feel have already been addressed through the platting process and really aren't in effect as far as where that creek is. And just a note on the notification, we also did put 2 signs up along 151st Street advertising this public hearing as well. So I will be glad to stand for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Saying none, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the board for any further discussion. Seeing no discussion, I call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve zone 2024-00039.
Second.
And we have a second from Mr. Williams Bay. Motion for Mr. Aldridge, second by Mr. Williams Bay. Any further, was it you? Oh, question for Mr. Warren.
From staff, can we just detail out the process going forward on drainage? What's going to happen next? I mean, I know that when a plat comes, it'll be taken care of in the plat process, but can we explain that to the public?
So the plat was actually discussed earlier in the meeting and was approved by the board. So the platting process has already occurred. Part of the platting process is required a drainage plan to be submitted to the appropriate engineering side, whether it was city or county or both in this case. And they have to review and approve the drainage plan, which essentially says that they've understood how much runoff could be produced by a use on this site and how it affects the overall drainage patterns in the area, and they would have to require the site to possibly make modifications to the site regarding pad elevations, sloping, draining things in order to address any possible additional storm runoff that would be produced by any impervious surface on this site. So that was already done prior to the plat being submitted and would have to be approved by the engineering firm or by the engineering department. And that was part of the plat. The plat was on earlier in the meeting and that was approved. So all of that has already been done, which means that the drainage plan has already been reviewed and approved by the appropriate engineer of the city or the county.
All right, we still have the motion and the second on the floor. Any further discussion? Saying none, cast your vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item 4.6.
Yes, once again, Brad Otherly, Senior Planner, MAPD. Now we are discussing case ZON 2024-00041. Just a note, I did have a public comment from Mr. Ball passed around. For this case, it looks like it's very similar to the public comment that he just verbally said, so that should be in front of you. For this case, the applicant is requesting a zone change from SF20, single-family residential, to TF3, two-family residential district, to allow for duplex development. This is the case that was mentioned in the aforementioned case that is happening just directly to the west. It is generally located on the southeast corner of South 155th Street West and West US 54/400. This site is currently undeveloped. Again, should the zone change be approved, several property development standards would change. And that is the table that shows that is located in the staff report. Property to the north is zoned SF20 and is developed with a manufactured home park. A portion of the subject property abuts US 54-400, and property to the north across the highway is zoned SF20 and is developed with farming/range land. Properties to the west are zoned SF20 and are developed with single-family dwellings and farming ranch land. Properties to the south are also zoned SF20 and are developed with single-family dwellings. And then properties to the east are zoned LI, limited industrial, and SF20, and are undeveloped and developed with a single-family dwelling respectively. The undeveloped property to the east is that land use application that we just approved. The subject site is also currently unplatted. Platting for duplex development will need to occur before any building permits are issued. There are no other zoning cases associated with this property. The site has access to the US Highway, a 4-lane paved highway, and also South 155th Street West, which is a gravel 2-lane street with no sidewalks on either side. City of Wichita water mains are located approximately 400 feet to the east and approximately 265 feet to the northeast across the highway. The City of Wichita sanitary sewer runs through the subject property. It is likely that the water main would need to be extended. The requested zone change is in conformance with the comprehensive plan. The plan identifies the site as residential and new employment. Residential is described as reflecting the full diversity of residential development densities and types typically found in a large urban municipality. And new employment is described as areas that will likely be developed or redeveloped by 2035 with concentrations of employment, primarily in manufacturing, warehousing, distribution, construction, et cetera, et cetera. Establishing TF3 zoning on this parcel is appropriate. However, with properties to the east requesting to be rezoned or having been approved to be rezoned to LI, simultaneously permitting a large-scale residential development in close proximity to potential industrial uses should be considered. As far as the locational guidelines are concerned, can we go to the future growth map? I'm sorry, I didn't ask for that. Locational guideline under the heading development pattern, guideline 1E recommends that higher density residential uses and neighborhood serving retail and office uses should buffer lower density residential uses from major commercial and employment centers and industrial uses. So although a manufactured home park is east of a portion of the subject site, a concurrent request that was just approved to LI would be just to the east. Also under the heading development pattern, guideline 3D recommends that low density residential uses should be buffered from commercial and industrial areas by open space, water bodies, changes in topography, et cetera, et cetera. Again, just to think about the request that was just approved that was changed to limited industrial, and that this would likely not be buffered in accordance with that locational guideline. If we can go to the pictures. This is looking east into the site from South 155th Street. Next picture, please. This is looking north away from the site. Next picture. This is looking south away from the site, and you can see just to the right of the picture is where a single family dwelling is. This is the driveway there. Next picture. And this is looking west away from the site. Based off of the information gathered, staff does recommend approval of the request, and this is based off the golden rules, and I can stand for any questions.
Thank you, Brad. Any questions from commission members? I would just like to ask one more time. This particular site is currently unplatted, correct?
Correct.
And that would mean platting for the duplex development would need to occur before any building permits are issued, correct?
That's correct. And what I don't know is if this one has also been heard earlier today. I'm not sure. Okay, so it has not been.
Okay, thank you. Ask the applicant or agent to come forward. Give us your name and address, and you have up to 10 minutes. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Will Clevenger with Garver here today on behalf of the applicant. Our company address is 1995 Midfield Road, Wichita, Kansas, 67209. We're in agreement with staff comments concerning the zone change. One of the comments said earlier was about bringing water to the site. That has been some early discussions that we've been having, our engineers with the city of Wichita, and that would preliminarily be brought in about a half a mile to the east of the site and then brought in. That's still preliminary at this point. We have started work on a subdivision plat for the property, but it's still in the early stages and we only have a very rough concept at this point. But there is already plans for a detention pond there on the south side of the property, about right where the water exits the property. That way we can control that release of water so that it does not increase or hopefully even decreases the amount of water that exits the site. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Does any members of the commission have questions for Mr. Clevenger? Okay, seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll now take it to the public. If there's anyone present here that would like to speak on this item, this is your opportunity. Step to the podium, give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Walk up here. Hi, my name is Marcia Kurkowski. I am at 1754 South 155th Street.
Can you show us on the map there?
Oh, good golly.
Using the pointer, the mouse?
Right here.
All right, thank you.
This is all my property. All right.
Okay.
I guess my first concern would be the effects and the intent on 155th Street coming off of Kellogg. As this road, the town of Attica has not maintained. This strip is only 30 feet. Then it goes to 60 feet about at this point, and it's 60 feet from there in. My next concern, of course, this water flow. The water flow is fine. I've had this property for, I don't know, 20, 25 years. It was fine. The county came in on Esner Street, this point, and for some harebrained idea, they put in smaller culverts than what used to be there. I'm sorry, I don't know what year. I had a engineer, I'm from up in Wisconsin. You guys use some Corps of Engineers or something down here? I had one of them came out and reviewed this, and he said, well, they didn't do the proper applications. It wasn't designed properly, yada, yada, yada. Okay, fine. But that's all done and over with. But it has caused problems. My land here, it's close to 2 feet of topsoil has washed away. And of course, this water does not just come from this little parcel. This water comes from way over here and it flows southeast. So I'm not too concerned about this causing any water problems because it's already there. And I believe the county needs to address what they did here. Because yes, it is causing, as this gentleman said, it is causing problems, flooding, and bad washing. And you're gonna find on this land in this area, you're gonna find about 10, 15 dead horses buried. That concerns me because I have livestock. I have a farm. I have sheep, ducks, geese, chickens, whatever. those horses died of diseases. And one of those horses died of a disease that's an infection there is no cure for. I know the veterinary that tried treating the horse. I'm sorry I don't know the name of the disease, but I just want to make somebody aware of this, that there's going to be biohazard in this area.
Thank you. Ms. Kurkowski, you have allotted your time. Is there any other comments you'd like to make to wrap up?
No, I think I got everything. Isn't that amazing?
Let me ask you one question real quick.
Yes.
Because this is a zoning change request from single-family residential to duplex residential. Do you have any issues with that request?
That request, other than what I've mentioned, when the work starts, that's all the concern.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Thank you very much for your time, everybody.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, ma'am. And I love your accent, by the way. Thank you. Any other public speakers? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the applicant for rebuttal. You have up to 2 minutes, Mr. Clevenger.
Thank you. The only thing that I would bring back would be the concern about the right-of-way width for 155th Street connecting to Broadway, or to Kellogg, I'm sorry. That is something that we'll have to be looking into at the course of the subdivision plat and dedicate additional right-of-way as needed.
Thank you. Any questions? We have a question from Commissioner McKay.
Yes, you said you put a detention pond, and according to the picture, I can see that. This person that just talked made a comment about water coming from the west. It doesn't look like to me on the map that it's going to go that way, but she says it comes down through that way. Would the detention pond help that situation?
As a course of our survey, we actually measured a flow line that was running right here along the northern side of the property, run right down, and then follow this blue line. Now, there might be some surface drainage that comes through here, but we didn't notice anything significant as part of our survey. We don't have a pond built yet. We're just in the early stages of concept for a detention pond over here in the south.
But you have taken that into consideration?
That'd be something that our engineers will be looking into as far as their drainage concept and their drainage plan.
Any other questions for the applicant agent? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll now bring it back to the commission for any further discussion. No further discussion, I'd entertain a motion.
Move we approve subject to staff comments.
We have a motion to approve from Mr. McKay and a second from Mr. Warren. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. That concludes our zoning request. Our next item would be other matters. We're going to take this opportunity to recognize a valued member of this commission for, I've heard 15 years. Is that correct, Mr. Van Zant? 15 and a half. So he is retiring from the city of Wichita, and Mr. Wadle has a few words and a quick presentation. You would like to join him? Jeff, would you like to go up there, please?
Don't worry, Jeff, you'll get a chance for a rebuttal.
Less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, you won't get any more time. Well, Jeff, we're excited for you, but also sad that we're not going to get to see you on almost pretty much a daily basis. So it's been a really close working relationship that we have with all of our legal staff and with Jeff especially, as well as I'm sure the planning commissioners, and getting to see you pretty much every week. As I mentioned, we work quite a bit with the staff from the city law department and the county counselor's office. And sometimes I think that they're here so often just to keep me out of trouble, but I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't confirmed, but I have my suspicions. But Jeff, your knowledge, your work efforts will be greatly missed, although we know that we'll be in good hands with Abby and Sam, especially. Most of all, I think, and most of all, that we'll miss your laughter and your positive perspective. You've always been able to put a positive spin on almost any situation, often with a lot of grace and humor, and I've very much appreciated that because we've had some pretty challenging things that we work on. They're not always easy things to decipher and work through. So as you move on to doing what you want to do and not what you have to do, I encourage you to remember the positive and significant impacts that you've had on Wichita and also Sedgwick County too. The advice and the guidance that you've provided here have contributed to the lives of residents and stakeholders for many years. And perhaps most directly, they have contributed to helping ensure that our process is transparent and fair. Since it's your retirement, I want to take a few minutes to highlight some of your accomplishments. So as has been mentioned, you've worked in the city law department since March of 2009, as I understand it, which is 15 years and 6 months. And during that time, you've probably reviewed thousands of planning applications and projects, and that is quite a feat considering the deliberations that we take with these projects and applications. You've attended and participated in hundreds of public meetings, I would venture to guess, which is many, many hours. You've provided advice on the fly, often in front of appointed officials, applicants, members of the public, sometimes with very passionate positions on items, and all of that providing advice while the cameras are rolling for prosperity. So it's not always an easy situation to be in, but I appreciate what you've done. In addition, you've had some less publicized accomplishments, but ones that are no less sensational. Those include having a joke for almost every occasion, and I know you don't get to see that here in these public forums, but when we get together, I think Jeff has a dad joke nearly every day, and I will very sorely miss those. I hope I'll get a chance to call you, I guess, and ask on those. In addition, you also have some of the most distinguished sideburns in the city. I want to make sure that you get recognized for that. And you have also very much and you continue, I'm sure, in retirement to contribute to the art and culture of our community through your wood carvings, a hobby that not many people know about, but you should, because he's quite the artist, and it's always spectacular to see what you do. Yes. So for all of this and more, Jeff, I want to say thank you. Congratulations. We'll miss you at work, but we know where you live, and we also have your cell phone. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Scott. It's not often you get recognized in the law department for something positive. I've spent months working on doing the consolidation of the Uniform Building and Trade Code. Even had to go to the hospital. I was having chest pains. I did get recognized. I got a $25 gift certificate to Dillon's. They put it on my payroll, and I got taxes withheld from it. So, and then I collected about $4.7 million for the North Industrial Corridor and settlements, and I think my Dillon's check or card is on the way for that, but we'll see. But I do appreciate the recognition very much. I remember Mr. Warren one time asking me a question. I looked at him while on TV and said, I got nothing. I have no idea what the answer is. So, sometimes we are asked to make decisions on the fly, and we do our best. You guys are going to be in great hands with Abby and Sam. It's going to be great. Enjoyed working with Justin back through the COVID days, figuring out how we were going to have public meetings and all these kind of things. Poor Abby, for the last couple months, she'll say, how do you do this? And I go, I don't know. This is a case of first impression. I don't think she believes me anymore, because it's like everything we've been having coming up is really going to be different. But it has been a great challenge. Someone asked me if I wanted to serve on MAPC at some point. I said it would be a hoot if I did, to say I've got a question for legal. I'd spend all week getting ready for it. It'd be a lot of fun. But I appreciate how much you guys, you're very passionate. You're very prepared. Honestly, it would take a while for me to do that, because you guys work really darn hard on this stuff, and I'm wanting to retire a little bit, so I'm going to enjoy that before I even consider. But thank you all for your dedication to this, Scott, department. You guys got a great bunch of people over here, and I do appreciate this very much, and I'm going to miss it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff. I do have a point of order question for legal. If this board were to deny and not recognize the retirement, would that be a binding action? No,
You would find an appeal in the mail immediately.
Congratulations on your retirement. I've enjoyed working with you as a member of the City Council and as a member of this Planning Commission. Enjoy your retirement, sir. Thank you. Any other business before the commission? Seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn. Multiple seconds, multiple motions. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you all.
Recording stopped.